So the research I'm going to talk about today is a work we have done as a research and design, as a research through design activity, which is focusing on the practice of the work of fashion designer in the world of sustainable digital fashion, and is proposing, of course, an object, which is our main case study, which is the design of an organic and modular clothing system, which was based on Industry 4.0 approaches, and is, of course, a concept and prototypes that is used to discuss the overall change that this fashion digital hybrid sector is occurring in this period, and also how it is going to be transformed toward an holistic dimension of fashion. So the agenda will be basically talking about this transition that we are currently in, which is transforming the fashion designer, but also the fashion crafter through these hybrid digital tools and processes. So how these practices of craftsmanship are changing the way crafters work and affect their creativity towards sustainability. And we, among the many technologies which are encountered in the Industry 4.0, we are focusing on 3D printing and laser cutting, coupled with the modularity of elements that allow us to focus more on the possibilities of the impact of fashion in terms of not only environmental sustainability and economic sustainability, but also in terms of social and cultural sustainability. So impacting from the design to the manufacturing and to the consumption that Hélène was talking so well before. So we go through the research and the methodology, and then we present the design of this organic and modular clothing system by highlighting some conclusions and future implementations of the process we have set up, and also which are the impacts of the activities made on an overall structure and idea of the fashion artisanship 4.0. So we know this paradigmatic change that fashion is having in the transformation toward the digital Industry 4.0, which is going to define new models of smart products, but also smart factories and also smart networks, as in the model that Bertola and Tenuesen presented in 2018. So this is going to affect not only fashion products, but also the servitization of fashion, and also how the processes of making, manufacturing, craftsmanship is produced toward a sense of innovation that is not only the progress in terms of technology, but also a positive change toward sustainability via decentralization, modularity, interoperability, real-time capacities, and virtualization and service orientation. And of course, we know that it's an overall model which is forecasting and creating a framework of a paradigmatic change in these three levels of product, services, and systems. We have several technologies on board in the Industry 4.0, which are from artificial intelligence that allow us to have big data to be monitored and analyzed. Also, maybe the most old one is the digital fabrication, both intended as additive, but also additive manufacturing, and also laser cutting as and CNC working. We have also augmented mixed virtual reality and system integration. But we, as I mentioned before, we are working in this paper on the digital fabrication, so digital technologies, which are actually, all of these are actually proven to have or could have a profound impact on the redefinition of fashion crafts and production, but also consumption logic in a systemic way. we say that, of course, being designer, and I mean, I'm an assistant professor in a design school, and also I am a researcher into a design department. We have this ambition of being situating the design at the center of this paradigmatic change through a design-driven approach to innovation that could encourage this positive, sustainable, and cultural, meaningful paradigmatic change. We know that there are many advantages of Industry 4.0 technologies, mainly efficiency and increase in productivity, even though this is not exactly what we mean for the positive and sustainability transition, but also in particular customization and co-design. So it is allowing to include the participation of users and customers in the definition of the items in a certain range of variability, which has been also found to be something that prolong the longevity of the garment and the emotional attachment to them. We will see that the use of this kind of technologies has also an impact on the increased product inner quality, because the definition of the details is higher than what if it is done by hand, but also this is also connected with the customer services, and also it's impacting the logistics in terms of the reshoring of production, which could be at the local space. And this is also impacting the international competitiveness of Europe again, as having in-house not only the design and the creativity side, but also the manufacturing stages. And this will impact the quality, creativity, productivity, and exclusivity of the products, also improve better working conditions compared to what we know now. It's working condition in the fashion sector, and the impact on sustainability. And the different sector in the fashion and apparel are using already technologies, but in a different ways. But in general, there are many difficulties in adopting these technologies, especially for the artisans or for the craftsmanship and luxury companies and small and medium enterprises that, for example, in Italy are very much. First of all is you can think it's a financial motivation, which is not, they do not have enough resources, economical resources to achieve to buy new technologies. But actually there is this difficulty, but also there is a limitation in the view, in their perspective on the business strategy and culture. So they do not understand why they should go for this, and also a limited knowledge about the topic, which is also lacking an understanding of how to search for these competencies they should acquire for the change of their technological infrastructure, but also their technology, skill or digital skills. And digital transition is also something that we see at the European level, at the level of education, which is actually something which is very important to upskill the artisans and the crafter in order to be able to tackle the adoption of Industry 4.0 technologies. But apart from this, we've seen that there are many already examples existing in this, transition. They are, of course, small examples. Some of them have done attempts. Some of them are really, I see there is a strange conversion of the fonts here. So I will name of some of them. So we have Eugenia Morpurgo, which has defined this kind of shoes, which are, and also Post Couture Collective, and also Ganit Goldstein, which have been producing garments and shoes, so footwears, including laser cutting and 3D printing in their processes. And what is important here is also that they tend to have collaboration with users, so participation with users I was mentioning before. Instead here, Yokai Studios, which is based in Austria, has a performative robotic microfactories, which is aiming to take a revolution on the way we produce garments by using 3D printing, not only to decoration on the garments, but also to allow for example, repair the garments in urban local craft spaces using not only 3D printing, but also robotics and programming. So these are examples which are showing us the way that the industry and fashion craftsmanship is going ahead in the development of new possibilities with a systemic view. In terms of 3D printing and laser cutting, here are several examples which are still examples of the use of 3D printing for the textile shaping, in terms of creation of such a composites that are working the textile as a structures. So creating also through the use of programs and softwares, which allows the customization direct to the users, certain manufacturing items which are actually defined just by the deposition of the plastic compounds on the fabric, allowing this transformation of the objects. Modularity is also very important in this, which is allowing both the participation of the user in the process, because sometimes they are delivered as single modules separated, and so the consumer has to create the garment per se, which is also something that it's allowing the creativity of the customer in shaping his own garment. But also in the case of modular augmented capsule, it's also reusing materials, so trying to work in a small size modules which are laser cut to allow the wasted, disposed leather materials to be reassembled through again artificial intelligence to create the best pattern to achieve the garment creation. So what we have seen through the case studies that we have analyzed, it's this change in the design, prototyping, and product development of the traditional fashion craftsmanship workflow, where the CAD and CAM, which are this aided design and aided manufacturing through computational design, allows to have a profound impact on the production and manufacturing assembly, increasing the creativity and product variability, but also lowering the amount of prototyping samples and also the material waste, hopefully, after the trials and errors that are always a part of the process. And then this is also traduced in the reduced time for product development, and where digital fabrication, so additive manufacturing, laser cutting, but also collaborative robotics are allowing to define new novel approaches to design, prototyping, and manufacturing, allowing the collaboration of digital and manual activities in a way to highlight the creativity of the designer and the artisans, and reducing, for example, the iterative activities, which are cyclical and boring, and also detrimental for the designer and for the workers. So the research we have done was based on a desk research and an analysis of case studies to understand how the combination of 3D printing technology and modular design can allow new possibilities in terms of innovation of products and services. This has created the basis for a research through design approach, which has been conducted within a Fab Lab in Milan through design practice and experimental research on materials and modularity, and of course 3D printing, to verify the feasibility of the technical means that we have already, how we creatively can change the tools that we use for normal 3D printing or laser cutting technologies toward fashion artisans and designers, and how it is enabling new processes towards sustainability. So what we aim to understand in this, we aim to understand how the professional knowledge is changing and how the traditional designer and artisan and maker is as the necessity to gather certain skills, which are all digital skills, from computer-based knowledge to handwork on the tools that he's using, and how this is optimizing the resources and the delivery value of the product that he is developing, but also how this is helping in the creation of this strong attachment and customization of the garment with the users. And so we come up with the design of an organic and modular clothing system, which has mainly 5 items to be highlighted. The first is that he uses organic shapes that have the dual scope, which is either the functional scope of assembly of the different modules, but also an aesthetical expressivity of the designer. Then the modularity, which is allowing adaptable multiple configuration of this single module in a sort of the creation of changeable dressing, or what we can call cross dressing. Then the customization through co-design and configurator of this modular shape in relation to specific body features. And then the 3D printing of digital partner to shape and connect the modular parts. And finally, the on-demand and network production, which is allowing this reshoring of the manufacturing processes where the product should be delivered without, cutting the transport carbon footprint emission. So it's basically defined in 4 steps, when the first step is the parametric pattern design of the modules, which are 3D printed on fabric, which is digital printed, then the separation of the modules, and then these dresses, which have been predefined for the user, but also the user can adapt to his body, but also to different moments and different configuration. So here we highlight the process, but not just to show you how the process has been made, but specifically to highlight that in the first part, the skills of the artisans change from the handmade sketches to 3D designed flat patterns, which are also important because the computer here is predominant in the activities of the designer and the artisans, specifically when you have to go for computational algorithm, and so you need to have software which are allowing to create algorithm to set the drawings. Then the second space, which is the 3D printing on fabric, is something that allows the artisan to gain again the ends on the machine, but in a different way. So the system has to be settled not only on a digital level, but also on a physical level by ensuring the fabric and setting the machine in order to have perfect configuration of the 3D printing on the textile. And then we have the 3D printed fabric, which is customized in the modules and then customized on the different garment. Oh, this is the pattern design fabric, but I'm going very fast since I'm running out of time. And this is the material equipment. Just to mention that this is not a desktop printer, because the desktop printer has a very limited amount of space. So the instrument that the designer can use to do this kind of activities have an important shape factor in the design, since this is a circular bed printer that has a 1 meter diameter. So also the configuration of the modules has been limited by the shape and the technology per se, but it has a limitation that has been perceived as an opportunity for the designer. The material is a silk fabric with a limited spandex inside, even though there is to allow the stretchability of the material, and the printed material is polyurethane, which is a flexible material. There are many ways in which, there are many attempts to make these modular shapes. And it's not really true in the fashion practices that the first trial goes and there is not waste of material. But as I mentioned, after a series of trials and errors, then we could achieve the results. That was a series of modules and a series of garments that you see here could be shaped in different dress clothing for the user. Here you see the logbook and some images of the results achieved in terms of the possibilities of continuously shaping the garments in different configuration. And here we just want to reflect not just on the aesthetics that could be achieved by using these kind of technologies, but in particular about this holistic sustainability perspective, when we combine 3D printing on stretch fabric and the modular design of freely removable and configurable items. We aim to achieve a process innovation. We aim to understand which are the skills that traditional fashion and artisans needs to exploit for this kind of usage. We would like to understand how much this the use of technologies is not affecting the craft items, because they retain a certain amount of manual activities, and so you can achieve the product uniqueness, which is, the result of craft based activities, as well as using the technologies from the industry 4.0. Then creativity can be enhanced through a series of iterative testing, but also we aim to understand if this compound material could achieve easy disassembly. And this is doable by the fact that by heating the materials, they can be separated. And so this is, let's say, improving the disposal at the very end of the life of the products, which is something that it's affecting really much. The disassembly of the garment is affecting very much the fashion system at the very end of life of the products. And this is allowing also material recyclability. The modularity is helping us in working on a near zero waste design technique and working on circularity, since we aim to have this modular system which allows the customer to not only define the amount of modules that he wants to have, but also probably include extra modules extending the lifetime of products. This is kind of affecting also the logistics in terms of the possibility of sending shipping the digital files and not the item already crafted through a sort of smart global production chain. So by considering different nodes that are able to produce through digital printing, 3D printing, the materials, the designer and the artisan is just providing the 3D files and then the tutorials for the different nodes around the world in this network production and manufacturing to allow this reduction in terms of shipping. So the production is made where the customer is asking for the item. And so at the very end of this presentation, we would like to say that, of course, the future of fashion and tech toward the use of this 3D printing and laser cutting technologies and modularity is in the hands of course, all the value chain and the supply chain. But we think that through this exploration we have had, we see the designer as a central role in pushing towards new exploration, toward new shift of the design and manufacturing processes, and also in the way the consumer can be included into the process already into the design phases. These are the references that has been used during the research and analysis.